Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's Big Larry with Five Out Productions, man. This is my first episode, first time doing something like this on my own. So, for my first episode, we're gonna talk about the Lakers and Dallas Mavericks trade. If y'all like the video, be sure to share it, comment, like, subscribe, anything you feel like you want to do. Show love and support to the channel, man. Thank you. Thank y'all for being here. Thank y'all for listening to me. So, start this off. Talk about the trade a little bit. So on February 2nd at 3 a.m. in the morning, for me at least, that's when I found out about it, that Luka Doncic has been traded from the Dallas Mavericks along with Maxi Kleber and Markieff Morris to the Los Angeles Lakers. In exchange, in return, they get Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and an unprotected 2029 first round pick. So this is a shocker trade. It took me a week to process this, to make this video in the first place, to be honest. But everyone's surprised that no one knew about this trade. There was no rumor out there, no reporting. It was just done. Nobody knew about it. Not even Luka Doncic or Anthony Davis himself. Not even LeBron, if I want. Not even LeBron, in my opinion. No one knew about this one. It was kind of just Nico and the other GM of the Lakers, man. I forget his name. I don't know why, but they did it under wraps, man. No one knew about it. Everyone was talking about Jimmy Butler trade. Where he's gonna go? He's going to Phoenix. He's going to stay in Miami. Maybe goes to the Warriors. Nobody knew about it. Under wraps completely, man. So shout out to the Thumb 2, man, keeping it under wraps, because stuff like this, especially this big of a move, this is the biggest trade in NBA history, in my opinion. A move like this, for them to be have no rumors, no hints, no nothing, that's pretty impressive to me, man. So shout out to them. But talk about the trade a little bit. So I'm talking from the Maverick side. So basically, they don't believe in Luka, his conditioning, his effort. They don't believe that he's going to be the talent that gets them to the championship level, which is surprising to a lot of us because it's just this past playoff season, playoff series, the Dallas Mavericks went to the finals. They went through the entire Western Conference, it looked like, and when they went to the finals, they did get gentlemen swept by the Boston Celtics. Celtics were just a better rounded team. They had a lot more defensive prowess that the backcourt in Dallas unfortunately did not have per se, and they did it, man. It took them out in 5 games. So I think this reason for this trade was I don't think the Dallas Mavericks believed Luka Doncic was going to get better, and he was going to be the piece to take him over that hump. I think they valued a, sounds like Nico said himself, a defense win championship. It looks like they're valuing. They saw that defense was one of the biggest problems within that backcourt of him and Kyrie. So to fix that, they need to bring a defensive star player that can still score that 26 points, whatever he scored in the playoffs. Man, it was crazy. I'll look right now for his averages. But yeah, they're looking for someone that can score the ball and be a great impact on the defensive end, which is not Anthony Davis. I mean, which is not Luka Doncic. That is more of an Anthony Davis type player. But this past playoff, I'll share my screen right now, man. But this past playoffs, Luka's been amazing in the entire playoffs. I mean, he's 28.9 points per game on 44-32 efficiency. Is pretty impressive. To top it off, he had 9.5 rebounds, basically 10, and 8 assists, almost a triple double in the playoffs, which is insane. He also was available for it too. He played pretty much all the games he can play in the playoffs for him, and he averaged 41 minutes per game. So he was playing, he was available, and he put up amazing numbers. I know 44 and 32 aren't the best numbers in a lot of people's eyes, but given his shot attempts, that is impressive. He took a lot of attempts. But they traded him. They really value defense and scoring over Luka's just offensive output overall. Another issue I saw with the Dallas Mavericks was Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving is a star player. You know, he's definitely gonna be needed there in Dallas whether it's Luka or Anthony Davis, to win a championship. He's their second best player, and he's also aging as well. So I don't think they Mavericks had really had a timeline, a long timeline for them to win a championship with Kyrie on the team. They saw Kyrie was older. Luka Doncic is a little, just not where they need him to be mentally and conditioning wise. They don't believe this 3 year window that they have with Kyrie on the team is going to be fulfilled with Luka Doncic. And top that off, they also brought in Klay Thompson during the offseason. He's older too. He's on the 31, 32. I forget his age completely off the top of my head, but he's in that mid 30 category as well. So yeah, they saw their window as another few years, and they believed that they needed to make a move this season, so when they go into playoffs, they can get further than they did last time. And they believe Anthony Davis, a defensive and offensive player, has a better ability to do that than Luka Doncic. One of my biggest issues with this whole trade was they kind of, like it being under wraps, didn't open up his availability to the other teams in the NBA. There's 28 other teams they could have talked to. Maybe got a better star. Maybe could have just shopped around something, man. Just hear what people have to say. Could have got some more draft compensation too. But they just kept it under wraps and trade with the Lakers, which is a little weird to me. 28 other teams, a star this big, a package this, they could have got a lot more picks. Maybe a player that even fits timeline even better. I'm not exactly sure who that could be. Anthony Davis is definitely a good player for that, trying to fit the timeline of Kyrie and Klay Thompson. But I just feel like they could have opened the ears to more teams, got maybe more moves under their belt. So that's pretty surprising to me. But Anthony Davis, that's not a bad player at all. He's one of the top dudes in the league. And they believe this guy's going to take him further than Luka did last playoffs. I don't know how true that is going to be. Luka is one of the superstars in the league, but 80 is definitely not too far away from that talent perspective as far as right now. Luka has been hurt this season too, only with 22 games played, I believe. Anthony Davis has been more available and has looked better this season. I think that was also helped them make the decision to ship Luka for Anthony Davis. So I think the biggest reason is kind of just they saw Anthony Davis fitting their window of 2 to 3 years better than Luka Doncic right now. They also valued his defense over Luka Doncic's offensive production. And to top it off, they wanted to match the timeline of Kyrie Irving and Klay Thompson better because they know that these guys are going to be a crucial part of a championship run. And when they are kind of done within 3 to 4 years, when they're out of their, they can't really do the same thing they're doing right now. Luka Doncic's still going to be here, but they're not going to have too many assets to kind of get him a different star. So I think they're just going for it right now. So we're going to see what happens with this. Who wins the trade? I think we have to wait and see. This could be a few years before we see the Mavericks have very deep. It could be like a year or two before we see the Mavericks have a deep playoff run. Maybe the Lakers do the same thing. But who wins the trade? I'm looking at it just as far as 10-year timeline. Luka was way better for that option. Anthony Davis is also injury prone, so that brings up some concerns. He just played this past Saturday and got injured and left the game. It wasn't a serious injury. I think it was like a day-to-day injury. He'll be back next game, hopefully. But that's scary, bro. I mean, this is a guy known for his injury proneness and him getting injured like all the time, playoffs and regular season. He's been pretty healthy this past 2 years, but history might repeat itself, and we might see him get injured in the first, second round in the playoffs. And Mavericks look terrible in that situation. So hopefully Anthony Davis can stay healthy. So yeah, we're just gonna have to see if this. Now another thing with the Mavericks is they have a very, very strong front court now with PJ Washington at the 3. That's not his regular position. He's usually at the 4. So it's going to be interesting seeing him adjust to being a 3, a small forward instead of a power forward. But with this move, Washington is a 6'7". That is a good amount of size for the 3 position. On top of Anthony Davis at the power forward, 6'10", 6'11"-ish. And then Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively, 6'10", 7'2", 7'1". five spot. So this is a very, very tall front court that brings a lot of size to the roster. Hopefully, we can see that kind of defensive prowess have a great improvement with this addition to the roster in the front court. Klay Thompson and Kyrie Irving in the backcourt, great shooting, a lot of scoring ability there. But another big move we didn't talk about with the Mavericks trade with the return is Max Christie, who's been balling. I mentioned before, he's been averaging 17 points on 60% from the 3 point line. Numbers are going to go down, of course. That's all not going to stay the same. But he also brings defensive prowess to this team. And we kind of seen him being more unlocked since he joined the Dallas Mavericks as opposed to being in a Lakers uniform. So with that backcourt defense that Luka was not able to provide last season, Max Christie kind of brings some of that back. And then we have Kyrie and Klay Thompson to hopefully bring up that scoring in the backcourt. Max Christie to defend, and also bring some 3 point production because Max Christie can also shoot the three at a pretty well clip. Shot 38% with the Lakers this season. Right now he's shooting 60%, which is going to go down, of course. But they have defense in the backcourt now. And they have scoring, 3 point shooting, and they have a very tall, nice defensive front court on top of that. So this team could definitely be better than this team might be better than they were last playoff series. My only disagreement is kind of Luka Doncic could have been here for 10 years to build around. You guys have shortened your window by 7 years with Anthony Davis here, but I understand it because Klay Thompson and Kyrie Irving are definitely important parts of this team, and they fit the timeline with Anthony Davis. They're around the same age, all three of them. And Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford, man, I think that's the best center rotation in the league. They got competition with Isaiah Hartenstein, Chet Holmgren, but this is one of the better center rotations in the league, and they kind of need this to match up with the Nikola Jokic's of the world. The Isaiah Hartenstein, the Chet Holmgrens, the Rudy Goberts, the Sabonises, what else? Alperen Senguns, Wemby. These are all playoff teams I just named. They might see these guys in the playoffs, or in the conference finals, or in the first round, second round. So to have these options with Anthony Davis, PJ Washington at the three, and then having Daniel Gafford and Lively, it gives them a very good chance to kind of level out or have an answer for these big men in the league that are stars within the Western Conference, like people I just named. Now we got to talk about the Los Angeles Lakers, man. Los Angeles Lakers. I don't think anyone expected this team to kind of go deep into the playoffs. There's a lot of question marks on the defensive end that they had. Anthony Davis has been great, but the rest of the roster, outside of Dorian Finney-Smith, has been pretty solid. But they don't really have too much defense going on that team, and their bench is not the best either. Jackson Hayes has been their backup center for a while. He's not the best backup center in the league that's available right now. Everyone can agree with that. And Gabe Vincent hasn't been the best either. Max Christie, they know he's been pretty solid too, but they haven't really unlocked him like the Mavericks did. So they weren't utilizing him to his full extent. And Cam Reddish has been on the roster. Cam Reddish hasn't been too productive for them. Dalton Connect is a rookie, has shown some great ability within the season. But we all know we can't put our faith and trust in him come the playoff time. We never really seen him in a playoff situation before. He's a rookie. Not too sure how much we can utilize him there. Rui Hachimura, the team's been solid, but they're not blowing anybody out the water. Not like the Cavs are doing right now, like the OKC is, or like Celtics. No one just believes in this team to win the championship like these other teams. They look like a second round exit is their peak, their ceiling. So I think the Lakers saw that, and they saw Luka Doncic became available when Nico met with the Lakers GM. I'm sorry, I just can't remember his name right now. I don't know why. Rob Pelinka. There we go. Boom. When Nico Rob met, I guess it looks like Nico brought up Luka, and he kind of saw their team right now and said, this is going to help us in the future, especially when LeBron leaves. And how we already got a chip. We got a chip 4 years ago in the bubble. We brought a championship to LA with LeBron and AD. This team is only getting worse, and every other team in the league is getting better as far as the Western Conference goes. And we've been looking for a move, but this kind of just gives us a breath of fresh air to come the next decade. And the Lakers, especially being one of the biggest markets, not even in just basketball in the NBA, but in sports, one of the biggest American teams, markets in sports. The NBA itself feeds off a star talent being on the roster at all times. And they kind of always had that for the most part. Before LeBron, AD came over here, we had Kobe and Paul Gasol. Then we had Shaq and Kobe. Before that, with Magic and Kareem, like they've always had star talent on that roster. And Lakers always has the most televised games out of all teams, even if they're good or bad. And just Los Angeles Lakers is one of those markets you can't compete with, and they bring a lot of revenue for other teams, especially when they come and visit uh, Philadelphia or come and visit Cleveland. Those ticket prices are gonna be super high just because of the Lakers name. So Lakers brings a lot of money to the league, and when you have a bad roster on the Lakers, that's hurting the league as a whole. Because you're not maximizing your profit with this big market. So with this move, they have Luka Doncic. Their markets, their star talent on the roster, their watchability has been set for the next 10 years. And Luka decides to stay next. I know he's a free agent next season, which is scary for the Lakers, but if he decides to stay in this market, next 10 years, the Lakers are going to be feeding the NBA. So I think this is another reason for that. As far as this playoffs, Luka's been injured a lot this season. I know you guys recently heard about the Lakers tried to also trade Dalton Connect, a 2031 first round pick unprotected, a 2030 first round pick swap, along with Cam Reddish over to Charlotte Hornets for Mark Williams. This looked like a good move. Mark Williams is 23, Luka's 25, 26-ish. So this in the future, these guys are going to be able to play together, build camaraderie amongst themselves, and be a pick and roll duo in the future. That trade actually did get rescinded because Mark Williams failed a physical. The trade was contingent on Mark Williams passing it. So when he failed it, the Lakers said, we don't trust him to be that pick and roll duo in the future that we once believed he could be when we traded for him. So now he's back in Charlotte, and Dalton Connect, Cam Reddish, along with those first two picks I mentioned, coming back to LA for the Lakers. The Lakers are kind of screwed this season. They don't have a center. They don't. Jackson Hayes, all respect to him, but he's not a center that's gonna help bring you guys to a championship level team. Especially with the other bigs in the league, when we have the Rudy Goberts of the world, we have the Nikola Jokic's, Chet, Isaiah Hartenstein, Sabonis, Wemby, the list goes on and on, Alperen Sengun, things of that nature. This team's not going to be able to keep up with them. And Luka and LeBron, they're so talented that they can get it done, but they're going to need to score average 80 points together every night just to get a game through. Because how much they're going to be obliterated in the front court. And especially with LeBron's age at the moment, I just don't believe that they'll be able to do that. And they're going to fall short just because of their lack of a center to really contend those other bigs I named in the Western Conference, especially. And then when we get to the finals, you got Cleveland's going to be there. You got Porzingis on the Celtics that's probably going to be there too. Karl Anthony Towns has been amazing. The Knicks might make it. 76ers are probably out this season, but Milwaukee, Giannis, Cat, Porzingis, Allen, and Mobley. Lakers do not stand a chance against those front courts. They don't stand a chance. They get obliterated in the paint. So, unfortunately, the Lakers will not be able to make another trade. Deadline has passed. They can't amend it. They can't, maybe get Mark Williams to take a first back from that trade they initially offered. They're just toast. They got to wait till the offseason or buy a free agent And the free agent market, the buyout market right now is not beautiful. Um, they got JaVale McGee if you want to pick him up, something like that, but it's not going to get the. It's not a big improvement at all. And it definitely improves the rotation, but it's not a big improvement. But the Lakers have their guy for the future. And they've won with every superstar they had in the past. They kind of won a championship with them. So the Lakers know how to get it done. The Lakers know how to build a roster around a superstar and get to championship. Hopefully, that conditioning issues that the Mavericks mentioned with Luka being next to LeBron, he'll be able to kind of mimic and learn from him and be the great player and be a great player just like LeBron has been for us. Hopefully, he can get that maturity and mentality of LeBron and carry that and then be the star of the Lakers in the future. But right now, they don't really have much to compete with in the playoffs. I guess LeBron's just gonna remain a Laker and just kind of ride off into the sunset. Maybe compete next year for a chip. He's probably just happy, playing with his son. I think he's waiting for his next son to join the league. I think he's gonna wait until Bryce comes as well. But he's just riding in the sunset. I think, in my opinion, just chilling, just vibing out. So yeah, that's kind of my take on that. The Lakers, they have their guy for the future. They're not in any position to compete this season, but I sense a big move coming this offseason. They're probably going to try to get a big, not Mark Williams. They might maybe someone in the draft lot in the draft. Try to trade for one of those players. Trade for a pick this year's draft. I've heard it's a very competitive and talented draft pool. This upcoming draft, 2025. Nick Claxton was a name they were talking about. That probably would have been a better move for now, but Mark Williams is way younger. And kind of does the same thing he does, so that makes sense to me as well. And thinking with the Charlotte Hornets, Mark Williams, Lakers kind of rejecting him off his health. His value in the league right now has gone down tremendously amongst other teams. So even if the Charlotte Hornets wanted to trade him in the future, that health scare lowers his value a lot, and they're not going to be able to get a similar package that they got from the Lakers. But they try to ship him off later this offseason or next year or whatever. So it hurts the Charlotte Hornets as well. And it's a little embarrassing, not embarrassing, but awkward for Dalton Connect and Cam Reddish to return to his locker room. Hopefully Dalton, personalities, egos, and emotions get in the way of basketball. We're all humans. They're human players. So these emotions are going to be in the way. That might affect the locker room over in LA. Also might affect the locker room in Charlotte. So we'll see what happens with Mark Williams. As far as the Lakers go, you got the guy for the future. I know I've said this before. Guy for the future. Just to recap, guy for the future. They're in no position. They have no big men. They're waiting on a off-season move, hopefully, to make a move like that. I think right now, the rest of the season, it's just going to be LeBron and Luka pairing up. Hopefully, Luka's going to learn a lot from LeBron. LeBron's going to put him on the right path to become a star in this league and get the right mentality. But that's kind of my take on it. And they made out like a bandit. They won the trade, too, yeah. Forget about they completely won the trade. They get a star for the next 10 years. They're set. The only thing they're really losing out on is the draft capital. They don't really have too much left. They have 2031, a few swaps to give, maybe a second round pick, not too sure, but Dalton Connect, Austin Reeves, they have some players they can move, but nothing substantial, nothing crazy. They don't have a lot to trade in the offseason. So hopefully they have enough assets, enough marketability to maybe enter free agency market and build a team around Luka for the future, whether it's this offseason or next offseason. But that's going to be something that they need to figure out because they don't have a lot of draft capital and youthful, talented players that they can trade away to build a roster around Luka. That's something they got to figure out. But the Lakers have done it before. Like I mentioned earlier, they won championship with all superstars they had in the previous, with Magic, Kareem, Jerry West, LeBron, Kobe, Shaq. They all won championship. Lakers know how to get it done, so let's see what happens. I am a Laker hater, so I was a little happy when Mark Williams got rescinded because I was like, yes, this is because to me it's like the Lakers cheated, man. I mean, they took Luka Doncic for everyone agrees that this wasn't a super valuable package for Luka Doncic, and he got him. And no other team talked to the Mavericks. Looks fishy, suspicious to me. And as a Laker hater, I couldn't believe this move happened, especially for the Lakers. And if you went to Warriors or the Kings, I'd still be in shock, but at least it wasn't the Lakers. But no, it was the Lakers. So I was a little pissed about that happening, and then they able to trade for a center that's young. The Charlotte Hornets, I mean, they just lost Nick Richards to the Sun. They didn't lose him, but they gave him away, which is one of the best backup centers in the league. Then now they're giving it Mark Williams. They don't have a center anymore. Doesn't make complete sense either to me. And the Lakers are able to get him. So when that trade happened, I was like, karma. Y'all cheaters. This is what happened to y'all. But I hope Mark Williams gets better. All love for Mark Williams. I think the Charlotte Hornets ended up trading him away because of the health injuries they saw himself. They didn't believe in him to be a long-term starting center either. And neither did the Lakers. So I thought to connect the first round pick being more valuable in the future than Mark Williams. So I think he's has health problems. We've seen it before with big men especially. Health problems. They're taller players. You know they have more health issues, easier to get injured. So it's not a crazy story. Seen it before. It is crazy that got rescinded though. I haven't seen that in a while. So, but yeah, just to recap, man. Hope you guys enjoyed me talking a little bit about basketball. It's my first episode. I'm gonna do it again. Gonna get a second one. Not sure about a whole schedule yet. I'm still trying to figure this out with school and things of that nature. But I'm here. I've been trying to do podcasts for about 2 years now. Just haven't done it. So something's always in the way, but it's time to lock in. So comment, like, subscribe. Also going to be on YouTube as well. I'm going to be on TikTok as well as YouTube. And I'm always going to have my Instagram page as well. So follow me at 5 Out Productions. Man, sorry about the noise in the background if you hear it, man. The Eagles, Super Bowl day. Everyone's wilding out in Philly right now. I'm in Philly, so apologies for that. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Second episode coming out soon. Probably going to do a little more trade recaps. This one was only about the Mavericks and Lakers and what they kind of saw in the deal and what their movement is going forward. But next trade, I'm probably going to talk about De'Aaron Fox. Might talk about DeAndre Hunter. Might talk about Jimmy Butler. Who knows? Stay tuned and go Birds.